So welcome to the Sim Centre, Southampton's new state-of-the-art simulation facility for clinical simulation. To my left-hand side is the paediatric simulation room. We have a number of paediatric mannequins. You could see the Sim baby which is set up and running in there. And then to my right-hand side we have the adult simulation room and Sim man who's running next door. Behind is the control room where we can control the mannequins, both Sim man or Sim baby. Behind me is another room which is our main classroom and debriefing room, and people who are sitting in there would be able to sit and observe scenarios or simulations that were taking place in both of the simulation rooms to my left and right. So in here we would run debriefs after a simulation, and as you can see there I'm engaged in looking after our patient. Sometimes some of our most powerful learning experiences happen when we make an error. But obviously we don't really want to do that in real situations with real human beings. But here with the Sim Centre we can, as realistically as possible, recreate the process of doing and actually enable people to learn, and also to learn sometimes by making mistakes, but by making mistakes in a safe way, and then turn that into a valuable learning experience. Most people who come to courses here would be pretty apprehensive about what would be happening when people allow themselves to believe that they're actually engaged in some genuine clinical practice, and in that way they are much more likely to take away useful ideas or useful learning that perhaps they might not have gained if I were to, for example, to speak to them at length in a lecture or give them a PowerPoint or some other method of teaching. We do offer faculty development, train the trainer courses here at Southampton as well, to enable our staff to help their colleagues and their students to gain really valuable learning out of these situations. So the advantage of having people watching live is that in realistic scenarios it's very likely that you will only have 1, 2, 3, a handful of clinical staff actually engaged in looking after the patient in the scenario. However, with a course of up to 20 people, you'd have a number of people who would then not really have any insight into what had taken place in the scenario. So by having a live stream, those people can watch and then be part of the debrief process afterwards and discuss and reflect on what happened during the scenario, so that everyone can gain some valuable learning from the simulation that had taken place. So here at UHS we have a number of these more low fidelity mannequins that we can loan to people. If I wanted to use this chap in a scenario, we do have the technology to make him more of a high fidelity mannequin. And this is a system we have known as iSimulate, which can simulate a patient's monitor. So if you've got any ideas for courses or training that you'd like to initiate, then I'm a very good point of contact for that, and I could help you to plan and to set that up. My name's Simon Holliday, and I can be contacted on either my telephone extension, which is 1726, or via my trust email, which is simon.holliday@uhs.nhs.uk. For paediatric simulations, I would recommend contacting the paediatric education team if you have ideas for running some paediatric simulations. I run these facilities in collaboration with my colleagues, the simulation technicians. They are generally better for arranging bookings, and I would recommend to make bookings of the rooms contacting simcentre@uhs.nhs.uk. That email address will most likely be checked by one of the technicians. If you wanted to speak to a technician directly, then you can contact them on extension number 4026.